Hello, I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. Hello, and welcome back to the quiz based on the hugely popular My 70s TV Childhood podcast. Yes, every fortnight we provide a testing 20 questions for you to prove how much or how little you know about the TV of the 1970s. It is just for fun, although I do appreciate that many of you take this extremely seriously, which I rather like. We love hearing about how you do in the quiz, who you play with, and I'd also love your ideas for future rounds and subjects to include in the quiz. You can share any of your thoughts with me by emailing quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. So, if this is your first time listening, or if you're a hardened veteran of the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz, I wish you very good luck. So on to round one. And this round is another new one. It's called Odd One Out. And the idea of the questions is to identify which is, the odd one out. Well, let's give it a go. Question 1. Which of these artists did not appear on the old-time music hall show The Good Old Days? Was it A, Ken Dodd, B, Bernard Cribbins, or C, Jim Davidson? Question 2. Which of these detective dramas didn't begin in the 1970s? So which of these didn't begin in the 1970s? Is it A, Shoestring, B, Bergerac, or C, The Sweeney? Question 3. One of these was not a character in the Wombles, but which one? Wellington, the Mac Womble, or Seamus O'Womble? So is it A, Wellington, B, the Mac Womble, or C, Seamus O'Womble? Question 4. Which items were not asked for as part of the annual Blue Peter appeal during the 1970s? So which weren't asked for? Was it A, postage stamps, B, old socks, or C, sticky back plastic? And finally, question 5. Which of these was not a member of the Anthill Mob, who featured in Wacky Races and The Perils of Penelope Pitstop? Was it A, Fingers, B, Yik Yak, or C, Rugbug Benny? How did you get on with that? At least with multiple choice, you can always have a guess, and you know you have a 1 in 3 chance of being right. As I remember from my A-level history teacher, whose advice was, if in doubt, choose B. Well, thanks very much for that advice, sir. Okay, let's move on to round 2, and this is our marathon or Fil Rouge round, which asks questions based on previous episodes of our podcast, My 70s TV Childhood. Don't worry if you haven't listened to every episode. You can make a reasonable guess at most of these. Although do listen to the podcast if you haven't already done so. I think you'll like it. Question 1. Our episode in November 2023 celebrated 60 years of Doctor Who. But who were the 2 actors who played the Doctor during the 1970s? Question 2. In November 2021, we look back to some early productions from the brilliant Cosgrove Hall animation studios. We remember the bonkers Chorlton and the Wheelies, yet another show which appears to have been thought up by someone on something. But what kind of creature was Chorlton? Question 3. In our recent 100th episode, we look back at record breakers and featured a clip from a world record attempt by some students at Leeds University. But what was the world record they were attempting? So what world record were the Leeds students trying to break? Question 4. In February 2023, we look back at the $6 Million Man. What was the name of the government agent who supervised Steve Austin being rebuilt? And question 5. In our September 2021 episode, Going for a Song, we remember the antique show of the same name. But do you remember what was the name of the resident antiques expert on the show? So that's us halfway through already. Hope you're doing well, and we'll take some confidence into our next round, which is our spin the wheel and name that tune mashup round, as I believe the kids of today might describe it. Very simply, I'll spin our purpose-built Wheel of Fate to provide me with a year, and then I'll input that year into our AI-powered theme tune generator, which will provide 5 theme tunes from TV shows which were first broadcast on UK TV during that year. You'll get the hang of it. So, without further ado, let's spin the wheel. And it's landed on 1979. Right, I'll just take that and input that into our AI-powered theme tune generator. And here we go. Here's theme tune 1. And theme tune 2. And how about theme tune 3? Moving on to theme tune 4. I hated that show, by the way, but it has got a catchy if mildly annoying theme tune, have to admit. And finally, theme tune number 5. Quite a tricky selection this time, I think, but I'm sure someone out there has got them all right. And now on to our final round, round 4. And this is our general 70s TV trivia round called TV Times. Are you ready? Question 1. On the 19th of September 1975, which much-loved sitcom was first shown on BBC Two? Question 2. I know it wasn't made in the 1970s, but Andy Pandy was shown incessantly during my early childhood, and I wasn't a big fan, I have to say. What were the names of Andy Pandy's 2 playmates? So what were the names of Andy's 2 playmates? Question 3. Staying with the Watch with Mother theme, another favourite of mine was Pogle's Wood. But can you remember who lived in the house in Pogle's Wood with Mr. and Mrs. Pogle? So who lived with Mr. and Mrs. Pogle? Question 4. How many people watched the Morecambe and Wise Christmas show in 1978? And I think I'll give you a million either way on that one. And finally, question 5. The 1972 ITV show Pathfinders was a wartime drama. But who or what were the Pathfinders of the title? Who or what were the Pathfinders of the title? And that's it. Another quiz wrapped up. So whilst you're checking your answers and reaching for a top-up for your drink, let's go back to last week's bonus question, which I have to say many of you got right. I asked, in which 1960s and 70s US TV show did the closing credits include an invitation to come back again next week, using the words, "You'll come back now"? And the answer was the Beverly Hillbillies. Now, on to this week's bonus question. Spooner's Patch was a fairly dreadful sitcom, I seem to remember, created by Ray Golden and Johnny Spite in the late 70s. What was Spooner's profession in the show? So what did Spooner do in Spooner's Patch? If you know the answer, then let me know by dropping an email to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. All right, so let's get on with the answers to this week's quiz. Round 1 or odd one out round. Which of these artists did not appear on the old-time music hall show The Good Old Days? A. Ken Dodd, B. Bernard Cribbins, C. Jim Davidson. The answer is C. Jim Davidson. Although you sort of feel like he probably should have done. Question 2. Which of these detective dramas didn't begin in the 1970s? A. Shoestring, B. Bergerac, or C. The Sweeney? And the answer is B. Bergerac. Although it does feel like it really should have done, because it's got that sort of 70s detective drama sort of feel to it, hasn't it? Question 3. Which of these was not a character in the Wombles? A. Wellington, B. the Mac Womble, or C. Seamus O'Womble? And the answer is C. Seamus O'Womble. Question 4. Which items were not asked for as part of the annual BBC Blue Peter appeal during the 1970s? A. Postage stamps, B. Old socks, or C. Sticky back plastic? Well, as you may have guessed, it's C. Sticky back plastic. And question 5. Which of these was not a member of the Ant Hill mob? Was it A. Fingers, B. Yik Yak, or C. Rugbug Benny? Well done if you got this one. The answer was A. Fingers. All right, now on to our marathon Fil Rouge round. Question 1. Which 2 actors played the Doctor during the 1970s? And the answer is John Pertwee and Tom Baker. Question 2, looking back at Cosgrove Hall, and in particular Chorlton and the Wheelies, which was, as I say, quite bonkers. What kind of creature was Chorlton? Well, as they sang in the theme tune, Chorlton was a dragon. Question 3. In our 100th episode, looking at record breakers, we featured a clip from a world record attempt by some students at Leeds University, and the world record they were attempting was domino toppling. Question 4. In The $6 Million Man, what's the name of the government agent who supervised Steve Austin being rebuilt? And he actually did that for Jamie Summers in The Bionic Woman as well. That was Oscar Goldman. And question 5. In our September 2021 episode, Going for a Song, we remember the Antique Show. What was the name of the resident antiques expert on the show? And that was the British institution that was Arthur Negus. Okay, on to our Name That Tune round. Tune 1. That was the theme for Not the 9 O'Clock News. Tune 2 was the theme to Telford's Change, starring Peter Barkworth. Question 3. This was a bit tricky, I think. This was the Omega Factor. And question 4, and I really didn't like this programme, but the theme tune is annoyingly catchy. This was the Red Hand Gang. And question 5, the theme was a theme tune to Danger UXB, the wartime bomb disposal drama. All right, on to our final round, TV Times. Which much-loved sitcom was first shown on BBC Two on the 19th of September 1975? And the answer is Fawlty Towers. Question 2. Who were Andy Pandy's two playmates? Well, it was Teddy and Looby Loo. And that very annoying song we used to sing. Here we go, Looby Loo, da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-bum-ba-ba. Yeah. Question 3. In Pogle's Wood, who lived in the house with Mr. and Mrs. Pogle? And that was Pippin and Tog. Question 4. How many people watched the Morecambe Wise Christmas show in 1978? And I say to the nearest million. And it was an incredible 28.8 million people, according to the BBC's own records. And finally, question 5. The 1972 ITV show Pathfinders. Who or what were the Pathfinders? Well, the Pathfinders were the RAF squadrons who marked targets for the RAF's heavy bombing raids during the war. So if you've got something that sort of equates to that, you can have the point. So how did you get on? Are you ready to jump into the swimming pool like the kids at the end of We Are the Champions? Or you feel like you're headed into detention at Grange Hill? Whichever, I hope you've enjoyed the quiz. Do join us again for next week's edition of the podcast and for our next quiz in a fortnight. Until then, take care, be nice to one another, and join us again soon for more from My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz.